Hi FlossTube, I'm Janet and this is my brand new channel, My Mother's Daughter. And I wanted to take the leap and make my first FlossTube and share with you why I created the channel and introduce myself and show you some of the things that are special to me and some of the pieces that I've done. So, I started stitching back in the mid 80s. I'm a proud Gen Xer. I'm 56 years old, and I was about 13, 14. And I remember the first pieces that I started stitching were from the Gloria and Pat books, and they were Precious Moments. And I did several. Precious Moments were big in the 80s. And I did quite a few of those, and I adored them. And then my mother stitched too. In fact, my mama, who this channel's named after, her name was Peggy. And she was a seamstress. She made my clothes up until I was probably 15 years old. She also was a seamstress for other people in our town too. So she had a wonderful business doing that. She made my Miss Hickman County High School Cinderella dress, and it was beautiful. And I won that year, so it was magical. Good memories. But she got a little burnt out from sewing garments all the time, but she still wanted to sew. And so I don't know if those of you that remember the 80s well, it was country blue, it was mauve, it was these geese in aprons and hats, and all that. Well, my mother found quilts that had been loved on a lot, and they were not salvageable. And so she would make teddy bears out of these quilts and bunnies and all kinds of stuff. And she would go to craft shows and sell those. And she did pretty good with that. So my mother was always sewing, and if she wasn't sewing, she's probably stitching. And I have a piece that I'll show you later that is my very favorite of hers. And I'm so happy that I didn't have to beat my sister up to let me have it, because it's my favorite thing. But I stitched from about the time around 13, Precious Moments, Gloria Pat, all that. And then I'd lay it down for a little while, and then I'd pick it back up in the mid 90s. And at that time, that's when the lavender and lace angels were, they were so big. And I remember people doing those. I did not pick those up. I think they overwhelmed me, quite frankly. But I loved Mosey and Me, and let's see, Just Nan. I did some of her things back then. But nevertheless, I really got into it in the mid 90s. And then I laid it down again, and then picked it back up, laid it down, and then really picked it up again last year in January. And I have to say, I thought, well, I'm going to be the only one that I know that stitches. I live in Kentucky, in central Kentucky, and I was in Michael's one day just getting some floss, and this other young lady was there also getting floss, and I was like, do you stitch? And she said, yes. And I said, yeah. I haven't talked to anybody else that stitches, And so then I became a member of Central Kentucky Stitchers, which you may have heard of from Karen, the recovering monogamous stitcher. I get the real pleasure of getting to stitch with her a couple of times a month. And she's a doll, and her work is beautiful. It's just beautiful. She has a beautiful quilt usually behind her when she films, and she's lovely in it all. And so, so Central Kentucky Stitchers is certainly something I want to encourage you. We're on Facebook. We have a logo. We have a QR code. And I mean, we're big time. So I found that community, nevertheless, and I've really, really enjoyed it. And I've learned that there's all these over-dyed fabrics and over-dyed floss and silk and this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, I am here for this. So that's kind of my journey from start to where I am now. Thank you for listening to all that. But as I was taking on stitching again and really enjoying it, I started thinking about my mama. And I lost her. Well, I didn't lose her. She went home to glory, as we say in the South. And she's there with my daddy. And I just started thinking about her a lot. And then I thought about my grandma. That I'm a farm girl, West Kentucky farm girl. And so about an acre away from our house was my grandma's house. And I was down there all the time, and she was always hand piecing quilts. And I remember being little, maybe 6, and sitting behind her in my little girl chair, watching her quilt on this great big quilting frame. And she let me put in about 6 stitches. And I love that. I love that she let me try. So, and then I started thinking about my mama's mama, my other grandmother, who also made quilts. And I started thinking about the heritage of the things that my grandmothers gifted me that maybe I didn't realize at the time, but I certainly embrace them now. So I named this My Mother's Daughter because I want to carry on these traditions. And I hope my little great nieces might also pick this up. I've got a couple of ideas maybe to get them interested, hopefully. But I also want to bring my mama and my grandmas along with me and show you all a few of the things that they've done and some plans I have. So I'm going to start by just showing you some things that I've done, a piece that my mama did, and then a little something that my grandmother did. So I'm going to start with, these things have all been done several years ago, with the exception of a whip that I'm going to show you. So this piece is a Mosey and Me. I love this. Y'all, it just takes one small miracle, doesn't it? Look at him and that little kitty. And what I really want to show you is there's even fringe on their little scarves, even the kitty. Is that not darling? I stitched, this is done on like 11 count, something or other. And I stitched this in about 3 days. I remember really enjoying it, and I really liked that it went fast. So as soon as I'd get home from work, I'd stitch it. And I think this is just pearl cotton that I used on this. I'm a little sad that I didn't put glass over it at the time. That may still happen, we'll see. But I love this. This is hung in every place I've ever lived after I stitched it. And I just love Mosey and Me. And I think it's called Small Miracle or something like that. You can, I have found this on the secondary market if you like this. And it's darling and it's fast and it's just so cute. I love it. So this is One Small Miracle. And then these next 2 pieces are things that I stitched for my mama. So what I neglected to tell you is that I cross stitch, but I also do heart hanger embroidery too. And so this, I can't believe I did this, but I did this too. This is a Catherine Coleman design. Isn't that pretty? Even if I did stitch it, I mean, the design's gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? It looks intimidating, but Catherine Coleman of Coleman Cottage did the most wonderful book that made this seem very doable, because you would do one page, you turn the page, and there's your next layer or your next step. So then you do that all the way around, and then you turn the page, and then you put on another layer. And so it was done in easy pieces. But I don't remember the name of this, and I haven't seen it on the secondary market, but I do remember vividly that this is Catherine Coleman. And I do also remember that she offered other colorways with this too. So in particular, I am very sad that I didn't put glass over this, because the beautiful gold little seed beads that are in here have tarnished. So it's got little green glass beads and then gold beads, and they tarnished again. So I love this piece. And I've contemplated, what could I do? Could I take those beads out and put new ones in? And I was like, I'm not doing that. So nevertheless, it is what it is. I'm not saying that I won't put glass on this piece and then the little small miracle piece too. But this is a piece of heart hanger that I did. And it hung in my mama's living room for a few decades. So she enjoyed it. So this piece, I did put glass on. I'm tickled to death. This was done for my mama. This is an Emmy Bishop piece, and from Cross and Patch. Little heart, super easy. Sorry about the glare. But these colors, the green, the mauve, and that blue, are my love language colors. So I really enjoyed doing this. This was pretty quick. Satin stitches, let's see, maybe a few cross stitches, a little back stitching, and then of course clipping those threads for the heart hanger piece. So I love doing this, and Mama loved it too. So this hung next to the little green piece that I showed you. So I'm glad she got to enjoy those while she was here with us. So this next piece I did for myself. I find myself wanting to stitch it and give it away, but I've got to quit doing that because I've got walls to fill up. This piece is the favorite piece that I have ever done for myself, and it is also an Emmy Bishop. Get that glare off there. It has heart hanger at the bottom, and then you've got some pretty satin stitching, cross stitching, little heart hanger there, and a beautiful little charm right there. I went all out, had this thing framed with a suede mat just like it was shown on Emmy's book. I remember this book, let me turn it up a little bit. I remember this book was a spiral bound book, and I remember it was Emmy Bishop. I think you can still get Emmy's things on embroidery.com. So if you're into heart hanger, she's my favorite heart hanger designer, and I just adore her. But this is my favorite for me. So I'll be hanging that somewhere cool. So this next piece, my mama did this, and I remember her saying that cross-stitching got her through that depression. And I thought, what are you talking about, depression? But I think as a lot of us are putting words to things maybe our mamas didn't and maybe our grandmas didn't, but this can be a real therapy for us. I know that Jackie from the Comfort Stitcher in her mentions in her intro that it's calming, and isn't her voice so soothing too? But she talks about the cadence of stitching and things like that, and I agree with her 150%. I mean, when I want to clear my mind of all the racing thoughts and all that kind of thing, I stitch. And so it has been wonderful for me. Also, love the community I'm in. I mean, I adore the ladies that I stitch with. So, and my sister has picked cross stitch back up too. So, but this is my mama's sampler that she did. And I think it's called Pineapple Welcome. It was a kit, and I can't remember who did it. But you can find it on the secondary market. I don't know how prolific it is. I don't know how many copies are out there. But this was a kit. So this is it, my very favorite thing that my mama stitched. And really, this is my favorite piece. It's got my love language colors in it. Look at that little pastoral scene down there at the bottom. I love it. And then she finished this in 1992. Little pineapple welcome. We're seeing these colors, these country colors are coming back. And they have been for a couple of years. But this is Pineapple Welcome from my mama. And this is the piece that I mentioned that I was glad I didn't have to beat my sister up over, because I would have done it. I don't know if I'd have won, but I'd have tried. But anyway, she was very gracious and let me take this with me. So I love this. I love this. This along with the other two pieces that hung together, those heart hanger pieces that were in my mother's living room, are in my bedroom. And so they're very special, and so I like to keep them close. So this is my mama. I'll show you pictures of them next time. I'm not quite as prepared. You know how when you're filming, you always think, oh, I should do this, I should do this. But another little piece I want to show you is right here. So this piece is from my grandmother. She made anything she thought was pretty. And this is a very loved, well-loved, stamp cross-stitch bedspread. It was on her guest bed, I think. And it is so soft from, y'all, it's been washed. But it is so soft, and I wish, I'm not gonna hold it up, but it's a queen size. I'm not gonna hold it all the way up, but there it is. Pink and green, those beautiful love language colors that I love. So I've got this piece from my grandmother. My grandmother's name, her government name, was Nana Eulalia Elizabeth Lee. Now you all, if that's not Southern, I don't know what is. She drove, I talked to a lady that went to school with her. She drove a pony cart to school, and she said when she would drive up in her little pony cart, the kids would go, Nana Eulalia Elizabeth Lee, Nana Eulalia Elizabeth Lee. So I thought that was so funny. It probably made her mad, quite frankly, but anyway, it's kind of a cute memory. So this is from my grandmother. I have some other pieces that I'll share with you later, but at least this is a little bit of an introduction to my grandma. And I was super close to her. She was a school teacher. She taught her first, she went to the Murray Normal School in Murray, Kentucky, which is now Murray State, which you may have heard of because their baseball team went to the College World Series. Tickled to death about that, y'all. Tickled to death. But she graduated from the Murray Normal School. And I have one of the papers that she wrote, and her handwriting was beautiful, beautiful. And maybe I'll show you that sometime too, if you're interested. But she was a teacher, and her first assignment as a young teacher was in a one-room schoolhouse. And so I love that about her. And there was an acre in between the house I grew up in and then the farm, and we had dairy cattle and stuff like that. And then Grandma and Granddaddy's house was down there. And I love going down there because she had kittens and chickens and all kinds of stuff. And because she was a teacher, she'd already retired by the time I came along, she kind of knew how to keep me entertained. And I was kind of a handful. So I'm sure my mama appreciated having a little break and having my grandma kind of look after me some. So anyway, wonderful memories, so much heritage and so much history that I'm so tickled that my family has. We still farm. My brother and his son are farming our family's farm, and so I love being out there, and I miss that. So what I would like to do is to carry on the theme of the stories, the things that make us us. I would like to encourage you, if you want to share your stories with me. I'm so interested in that. Our stories are important, and they express who we are. They talk, oftentimes they identify who we are and where we came from. And I would love to hear your stories about, the women in your life, or the dads, the granddaddies, the secondary granddaddies, or the folks that acted like a daddy to you, or what have you. I'd love to hear those stories. So in the description box of this video, I'm going to put my email address, and I would love to see pictures or share your story, and I'd love to share them here. I think that's so cool and important, and it really speaks to, at least for some of us, why we do what we do. And for some of us, we were taught by our mama or our grandma, or we got to stitch with them. I got to stitch with my mama. I've got to stitch with my sister, which is really important. And so let's keep this going. It's a way that I'll tell you more about my mama. I plan to bring them on this big journey with me on this, because they're such a part of me and part of who I am. But if you feel like sharing that, I'd love to know more about it. And if you're okay with me sharing that, please let me know. I won't share anything out of confidence, or if you're not okay with it. So next on the list is, in the more modern times, I do have a work in progress. I just brought one down to show you, and this is, y'all, this is a gift. I promise I'm gonna slow down on this, but this is for a very special friend, my friend Heather, who married, I think, she may not admit it, but she might, maybe, the love of her life. And being in your 50s and finally finding the love of your life is such a blessing. They live on a farm in West Kentucky, where we're not too far from where I'm from. And she picked out this piece from Artful Offerings, which is Folly Farmstead. And here's what it looks like. This little barn looks very similar to their house. And so I'm going to change Folly to their last name. And then I'm going to put their wedding date at the bottom. I'm going to add some more lines and just bring this down. It's all done with Weeks Dye Works, I believe. No, Gentle Arts. Sorry, Gentle Arts. So these are the threads. And I love when people twist those threads around so you can see them all together. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Look at that. So pretty. And the barn is red enough to be like a faded barn. So I'm going to show it to you. I have not taken it out of the frame because you're going to see all that I've done. And I do have a thread hanging. Oh, gosh. I didn't think about that either. But anyway, so this is what I've gotten done. I am stitching this on 28 count. I don't remember the linen, but I do know it's 28 count. I want it to be a little bit larger so that I could frame it for them. But there's Folly Farmstead, and I love it. And I especially love it because I'm a farm girl too. So it's got those cute little topiaries on the side there. Aren't they cute? So I'm excited to do this for her, and I know she'll love it. She picked it out, so, you know, we're safe. But it's so cute, and I'm just tickled to do that for her. But the next time we're together, I'll show you, I've got a few more whips. A couple of things you might need to know about me and how I stitch is I have a somewhat of a similar process to Karen, the recovering monogamous stitcher. I really, I don't really start too many things because it really overwhelms me. And if I get overwhelmed, I don't know about you, but if I get overwhelmed, I just stop because it's just too much. So I've probably got 4 or 5 things that I plan to finish and fully finish by December 31st. So those are my plans for this year. And then I've got big plans for our 250th anniversary. So anyway, but I'm going to end here. I'm so tickled that you stopped by, and I hope that maybe some things I've talked about have resonated with you. And again, I love to hear your story. So please subscribe if you want to, if this is something that resonates with you. And I'll see you next month. Bye, y'all. We're gonna have a big time. Bye.